Wildfires have been raging throughout Northern California. When did you know that your property was going to be in danger?
Yeah, so I was just eating dinner on the back porch Sunday evening, and a neighbor of mine raced down the road. He's a volunteer fireman because he could smell smoke. We knew my property wasn't on fire and we couldn't see any fire, so then we all raced down the road looking for the fire. We're coming back up the road, and then all of a sudden we looked up the hill and just saw a massive fireball coming up over the mountain.
What did you do?
Well, the first thing we did, besides being very scared, is we went back down the street and told everybody to evacuate. So we made sure that everybody else saw the fireball and knew what to do. I personally stayed, as did my neighbor, because we wanted to defend our properties, but most of the neighbors left. We started at 10 o'clock fighting the fires, and we finished at basically 8 o'clock in the morning. We used tractors, we used backhoes, we used shovels, we used picks, we used wet blankets, everything you can think of. It was a constant battle because the wind was shifting. You know, it'd come one direction at 60 miles an hour and then turn around and come the other direction at 60 miles an hour. Meanwhile, while we're doing this, we're watching all our neighbors' houses explode, literally, up on ridges. We're watching trees explode. The sounds were incredible. Propane tanks exploding, cars exploding, everywhere you could look. You know, 360 degrees.
As the wildfires continued to burn, killing at least 19 people in Napa and Sonoma counties, Derek showed me how close the flames came to reaching his property. Derek, I see this line right here where everything is charred, but this from here onward is okay.
Yeah, so Sheraz, literally this line is where we ended the fire with rakes and shovels. That's it. There were 100-foot flames out here, 50-foot flames there, 20-foot flames here. The reason we were doing this, you can see that's all burnt out. There's nothing there. But if you look over here, you can see we were able to save all of this. And that was the miracle of what we were able to do.
So Derek, you literally risked your life to save your property.
Well, we did. It wasn't just me. It was myself, my employees, and my neighbor. We all risked our lives, but we thought it was worth it. The reason I wasn't scared is that we have a swimming pool in the center of the property that's not up against any buildings. So I told everybody in the beginning of the night, if we're going to fight this thing, if it gets out of control, we all go here, and this is where we ride the storm out. Thank God we never had to do it. I have cried so many times over the last 2 days. I'm not a super emotional guy, but I think just going through the whole thing and then just realizing the luck of the draw.
It's not just Derek who has an emotional connection to Triple S Ranch, which dates to the 1800s and was once a dairy farm and restaurant. Since he bought the property in 2012 and began renovating it, 150 couples have rented its grounds, Grand Victorian, and rustic barn to celebrate an unforgettable day. Derek, on November 19, 2016, my wife and I got married under this beautiful, majestic walnut tree. On that day, it rained 2.5 inches. Before I exchanged my vows, I thanked our guests for coming to our monsoon wedding. It's hard to believe that 11 months later, this tree, along with your property, may have gone up in flames.
Well, you know what they say in California, earthquake, fires, and floods, and you know, we have them all the time, but the beauty's irreplaceable, and that's why we fought so hard to save it. You know, the terrible thing about fire is 5 houses can be destroyed, 1 house survives. There's a little bit of guilt in that even.
As the sun receded behind the hills, Derek took me a mile up the road to visit one of the neighboring properties, now reduced to ashes.
This is a neighboring resort just right down the road. Everything was destroyed, as well as 30 houses that sit between here and there. And just by the sake of God, you know, we escaped it, and unfortunately they did not. It just breaks my heart to no end to see what this is and imagine what this owner will go through.